That intro evolved out of an intro when we did the song in the bars. We learned the song, and the guys were like, "We switch guitars right here." So, okay, well, I'll do this, and you come in when you're ready. And then over about a period of about 2 years, it ended up to be about like a 3-minute set piece before we actually recorded it on the live album. And the drum licks on here, I didn't invent these drum licks. They come from, drum licks didn't originate with me. They didn't come out of my head. And I'm not a guy that reads music, except if it's for French horn. And I don't read any drum music. And so where did I get this stuff? Well, I appropriated it, as they say in the art world. And as they say in the music world, I nicked it or I stole it or whatever. I got my licks from other drummers. So how do you do this stuff? Well, I'll give you about the 20-minute version here, which is page 2. I started off, and when I was about 12 years old, I came home. My brother was playing a record, and previous to this, it was 1963 or so, I'd heard Elvis Presley on TV, of course, and it was Hound Dog, and it was, and most rock in those days was kind of like swing stuff. It's like, because that's where it came from. The swing kind of evolved into, it got kind of more swingy, got a lot straighter, got kind of dumbed down a bit, started mixing with country music and blues, and kind of morphed its way into rock. And that's when I started growing up. So I get home from school and I hear this song, and it's The Twist by Chubby Checker, and it's just basically. And I come in and I heard this record, and I was like, "What is that?" And it's this new single, and I thought, God, these hi-hats, or I didn't even know they were hi-hats at the time. I was like, what is that? And I'm sitting there, and I played it about 10 times in a row, and why my brother wasn't around, of course. And I was like, well, this is whatever's going on here is really cool. And about the same time, Walk Don't Run 64 came out right at the end of 1963, and it was by Mel Taylor, The Ventures, and it was kind of a, So basically the one roll. The Ventures, at the same time, a group called the Safaris had a hit with a song called Wipeout, and it became mandatory for all drummers to know this, or you couldn't get in a band. And it was basically, my favorite version was the Ventures version, and it was like a... So you see, we're starting to get a little theme going here. First of all, the drummer's always going either a little faster or a little slower. There's an up and a down, and starting to get a little roll. The only other roll that anybody really did back in like '63 was basically... So, I'm starting to hear this stuff, and the Rooters had a single out, and the Ventures used that in their version of Wipeout, and it was, Let's go. Let's go. And it just basically kind of went like that. It was like, oh, there's another good drum lick, the Let's Go lick. January 1964, or I guess February 9th to be for sure, the Beatles were on the radio. Music scene suddenly started changing. Beatles on Ed Sullivan, they opened up with All My Lovin'. They did She Loves You, made a big impression. They started it off kind of 1, 2. Now Ringo played the floor tom. It was a 14, and Ed Sullivan was a smaller kid. He played this thing on the hi-hats, and it was this. I was like, how do you get, it was like, finally, how to get this great sound out of these two cymbals. So my mom went down to Nielsen's House of Music in Rockford, and this guy that went to school with my sister, Rick Nielsen, and they'd moved to town. His dad had a music store, and my mom went to get a snare drum, and God bless the salesman, he sold her a whole kit. And it had these 10-inch hi-hats, a Sonar kit, and it had this 15-inch garbage can lid, and all the chrome peeled off in about the first year I had it, and stuff was stripping out on it. It didn't matter. It was great. 8 by 13, 14-inch deep, 16 tom, a little 4-inch snare drum. I think they were made out of beech or some sort of wood, kind of clanky little wood. And it was great. And then finally I learned watching the Beatles, you don't get this wash. I'm sitting there like trying to do this with brushes and stuff, and I get these crummy cymbals, and so I started to notice, well, if you want to get the sound these guys get, you got to kind of have some of the gear they kind of have too. And the Beatles, they did She Loves You, they did Twist and Shout. It had the nice big fat we're still kind of basically doing the same 2 licks. Please Please Me, they're doing that, and they get to the middle of the verse, and he did the big. Like, so these things just got reinforced. More, it's like, okay, there's 2 licks in rock. Then there's the Ventures lick.